All right, this is probably a niche video, but if anyone is experiencing issues connecting hardware to macOS after an update with USB hubs, this video is exactly for you. So recently, I had updated my MacBook OS version while I was traveling. Um, and to be transparent here, I'm on Mac OS 15.7.7 Sequoia. I don't super trust OS 26 Tahoe because um, I use Ableton on my MacBook, and I don't super trust that a lot of the like software plugin compatibility that I rely on for production is super compatible with 26. Maybe it is. I know that Ableton just recently released compatibility for it, but you know, update slowly, as they say. Anyway, so yeah, I was traveling and I had performed an OS update, and I have a little bit of a complicated setup for hardware. A lot of my devices, my hardware devices, are split between two computers, and let me show what this looks like. So I have a MacBook Pro that I do a lot of my creative projects on, and a Linux desktop on which is my daily driver. I do most of my gaming there. I do a lot of my programming there, and generally have more projects and stuff that goes on over here. However, both of these computers share a number of hardware devices that I couldn't get running on the MacBook post-update. So for a little bit more context here, while I was traveling, I had taken a small subset of devices over on this setup side. So I had brought my USB-C dongle and my external hard drive because a lot of my music projects are hosted externally. They just take up a lot of space, and this allows it to be portable and transferable to different devices, yada yada. So it seems like, and what I had experienced, when you update OS X, it doesn't seem to preserve any of the hardware connections or hardware IDs that have previously been connected to the computer. I'm not really sure why this is, and I don't actually know if that's true or not. But that's what I had experienced in my own usage of the operating system and of the hardware on it. So after I updated, when I connected this USB dongle and this external hard drive, I needed to explicitly provide hardware consent. So I did, and I was able to, get my musical projects back running and use it, as expected while I was traveling. However, when I came home and I tried to reconnect the dongle and the KVM and everything downstream, there were some issues reading some of this hardware. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what I have experienced in the past couple of hours trying to get this all set up, because there was a silent failure while connecting a USB cable from the USB hub connected to the KVM to this USB dongle, which has like 3 USB 3 like USB-A slots, one of which is connected to this external solid-state hard drive, and another just takes this USB-A to USB-A KPM cable. But yeah, so it seems like when you provision a piece of hardware, like a USB-C dongle, the MacBook doesn't explicitly do like an exhaustive search through everything that's connected to that USB dongle to see if the pieces of hardware downstream are also provisioned with access to the computer. So what does that mean? It means that anything that hasn't been directly connected to the MacBook will not register, and it doesn't have access to these hardware IDs, which means that it can't actually connect any of this hardware. Which means that if you plug in a stray USB cable to a dongle that has been recognized, it will probably just not read this. And that's what I had experienced. So to be able to resolve this, you simply need to take this external or downstream set of devices and connect it directly to the MacBook instead of plugging it in through, a separate USB hub. And I know that people say that Mac interplay with USB hubs is a little bit weird, but in my experience, it has kind of just worked as expected when everything is registering hardware altogether. However, if you're not registering hardware altogether, you do actually need to plug everything in discretely to the MacBook in order to get all of the hardware to actually operate as expected. And that's just kind of the TLDR. If you're having any similar issues with this, if there's a silent failure or you're having issues getting hardware connected to your MacBook, my recommendation would be to try and isolate it as much as you can, and try and enforce the hardware connection consent form on macOS to actually pop up. Just reduce down all of the variables as much as you can, and hopefully it will produce some of the same behavior where it won't silently fail anymore, and then you'll be able to subsequently access and connect all of these devices. Yeah, so hope that's helpful. Let me know down in the comments if you have any issues and what your setup looks like, and we can chat about it and see if we can solve your problem. All right, thanks. Take care. Bye.